Right, folks, welcome to the May meeting of NPU-F. Today is May 21st, 2025, and I'm Debbie Skipczynski, your NPU-F chair and ringleader. Taking minutes tonight is our secretary, Catherine King, and also present and co-piloting the meeting tonight is Tom Schwab, who's vice chair and alcohol licensing chair. Wiley Somerville, who is our zoning chair, and I saw Marla Johnson's name pop up as communications chair. Katie DeWeese, our APAB representatives. Terrell Flakes is our acting parliamentarian. I expect others to join in a little bit. We're getting started. There are some other events tonight. NPU-F has two agendas. The full agenda, which is the one with the phone numbers on the front of the document. We also use a consent agenda, which includes applications which historically this NPU has approved with no discussion. These applications will be bundled together to be approved with a single vote. If you are here for an application, please check the full agenda to find it. Both agendas are now in the chat. All residents of NPU-F may vote on any issue unless there is a financial interest in the application or motion. For example, a property or business owner may not vote on their own application, but can vote on others. If you're not an NPU resident, business owners may vote if they have met the requirements as described in our bylaws. During the chair's report, I will be suggesting some proposed modifications to the bylaws to clarify property ownership. The voting rules are on the bottom of the full agenda. We are using the honor system tonight. Please refrain from voting if you do not live or own property or a business in NPU-F. When we vote in a bit, we'll be sure that everyone can find the raise your hand icon, which is the icon that we use to count votes. NPU-F uses Robert's Rules of Order as our parliamentary guide. Please do not be intimidated. We try to stay reasonably informal for most routine matters. I will ask if there is any objections or for unanimous consent. When a motion is requested, I'll recognize the first two people who speak up to move or second the motion. This is the only exception to my raise your hand rule. And if you don't understand what we're doing, if it gets a little complicated, please raise your hand and ask, because we want you to be able to follow the meeting as best as possible. I know that most people have used Zoom, but for those who are using it for the first time or need a refresher, here's some things you'll want to know. First, Zoom publishes a participant list, which includes everyone who is attending this meeting. Your name will be at the top of the list. If there is more than one person using the same device, please include both names on the participant list so that we can get an accurate attendance report. This will also be important for voting. Tom and I will put little twos by names where there's more than one person attending the meeting, so that makes it easier for us to count. To change or add a name, you click on the word more, M-O-R-E, to the right of your name to find an option to rename. Also, if someone else's name is showing up in your window, then please correct it. If there are duplicate names, neither one's vote will count. The mute button, which looks like a microphone, can usually be found at the bottom left of most screens. Please stay muted unless you are called on. If you wish to speak, please use the raise your hand icon, which is found under the reaction tab, also at the bottom of the screen, or sometimes it's at the top of the screen under react. Be sure you click on the correct icon. Sometimes folks will hit the thumbs up and that disappears after 10 seconds, so we'll miss your vote. Speakers will be called on in the order the hands are raised. Also, please be sure your camera is on so that we can see who is speaking. If you've called in and want to raise your hand, click on *9. To mute or unmute, push *6. Let me say that again. If you want to raise your hand, click on *9. 9. To lower your hand, *9. To mute or unmute, you push *6. To lower your hand, to unmute is also *6. So that we can get through our voting items, please follow our meeting protocol. Keep all questions and comments germane to the topic being addressed and respectful of everyone in the meeting to allow everyone an opportunity to speak. I'm going to ask that you only speak once on a topic unless you are asked for clarification or a question on previous remarks. Please limit your comments to 2 minutes or less unless otherwise instructed. If you have a random thought, please make a note in the chat and someone will either respond or work it into the discussion when appropriate. At the end of the meeting, I will ask if there's anything else to come before the NPU tonight. That's the appropriate time to speak up on items not on the agenda. The chat is where you can find messages to everyone or to an individual. If I see the comments that become inappropriate, have blatantly false information, are rude or mean-spirited, I will turn off the chat for the remainder of the meeting. As a reminder, you can save the chat by clicking on the 3 dots in the chat window, either at the bottom or at the top, depending on your device. If you can't save it, let us know in the chat window and we'll get it to you. A reminder that snarky or sarcastic comments are not helpful and we don't appreciate them. So please keep the snark to yourself. I consider NPU-F a snark-free zone and I will try to do the same. So that we can all hear and we can get a good recording, it's important that only one person speak at a time. If we are picking up background noise or you interrupt or hog the floor, you will be muted. As a reminder, this is campaign season again. And that campaigning is prohibited at NPU meetings. This means that you cannot introduce yourself as a candidate or representing a candidate or mention campaign activities on screen or in the chat. Please, campaign signs, buttons, or banners are not allowed on screen. If you do so, I'm obligated to report it to keep me out of hot water, so you will be muted and asked to leave the meeting. Most people who attend NPU meetings are here because they feel strongly on a particular agenda item. I especially want to hear from you if you're opposed to an application or if there is something that should be noted to make a project more appropriate to the neighborhood. Please don't be shy about your point of view, but also please be brief. You may also put your comments in the chat. They will be captured in written reports sent to the meeting. And if I'm moving too quickly through the agenda or you don't know exactly where we are in the agenda, please call me out. Sometimes I get on a roll and forget important steps. Last year, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the NPU system. Mayor Maynard Jackson created the NPUs in 1974 to ensure that folks had input into how their neighborhoods were developed. The role of the NPUs has evolved over those 50 years, and we are now asked to comment on a wide variety of topics affecting our neighborhoods, the NPU, and citywide. Your participation is critical to our form of grassroots democracy. We have the responsibility to share our opinion with our city leadership and the strength of that opinion with NPU vote counts. As a reminder, all votes taken at the NPU are only recommendations. Final decisions are made by city boards, city administrators, or city council, and I hope that you will take advantage of expressing your opinion there as well, either in writing, by phone, or by making a comment during public hearing opportunities. It's easy to be discouraged when an NPU vote is ignored or overruled, but our voice, our strong voice here, and election day votes give notice that NPU-F is paying attention. Our first order of business is to adopt the agenda. Are there any additions or to tonight's agenda? If there are, please raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any hands raised or hear any voices. Are there any objections to adopting the agenda tonight? Hearing none, the agenda is adopted without objection. The March minutes, were a month behind, are now ready for review. Thanks to Catherine King for getting them ready, and she does an excellent job every time. They were sent out on the reminder notice emails. They're in the chat and should now be on the NPU-F website. Any questions about Jane? Do you have a question? You have to come off mute, sweetie.
I'm sorry, I was reading the agenda when you asked if there were any additions to the agenda. I would like to be added to try to correct the record from the last month's agenda, where a discussion occurred about my family and our business, our personal business, and many misrepresentations were made. I don't know if you would like me to make a motion later or whether you would allow me to correct the record.
Jane, the minutes that were in the process of reviewing and approving are for March, not last month.
Okay.
But the issue with that came up at the end of last month's meeting is in my chair's report at the end. And we could discuss your issues and concerns then.
Thank you.
Give you an update on where we are with that, if that's okay.
Yes, fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Are there any corrections to the March minutes? Anyone go down memory lane to what we did in March? Okay, is there a motion to adopt the minutes? March minutes?
I'm so move.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Oh, thank you, Wiley. Okay. Are there any objections to adopting the March minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are adopted. We'll catch up with the April minutes next month after I find out what my cat did to my notes. Okay, just a couple of announcements before we get to city departmental representatives. First, a municipal court hearing regarding Happy Herman's, European Dry Cleaners, and Landmark Diner on Chesapeake Road was held last month and was reset for compliance to June 3rd at 11 a.m. in Court 5C at the Municipal Court Building. Several neighbors attended the April meeting, and the judge acknowledged their concerns by shortening the amount of time allowed to clean up the property. All that information is also on the chat. So it'll give you some information. It also will give you the case numbers. So if you want to check to make sure that nothing has changed with the date or time, you can use that case number to search on the Atlanta Municipal Court website. It's a pretty easy thing to do. Next thing, a special administrative plan hearing or an SAP hearing will be held tomorrow, May 22nd at noon in City Hall, Committee Room 1. That's on the second floor. On the agenda is SAP Beltline 25012 for 442 Plaster Avenue. That's in the Armour-Otley district. The hearing is for comments only. No decisions will be made. And once again, that information is in the chat. If you're not able to attend the meeting but want to submit some comments, you submit them to sapcomments@atlantageorgia.gov and they will get to the right planner. And then finally, the Atlanta Municipal Court is hosting an open house on June 13th, 2025 at 10 to provide information about its Housing and Code Enforcement Division. All community leaders are invited to join and hear from the presiding judge, APD Code Enforcement, the City Solicitor's Office, and others. This is an opportunity for community leaders to ask general questions or become informed about housing, business, zoning, and other code violations that impact your neighborhood. They're providing coffee and late bites. And for more information, check your consent agenda and to RSVP. There is a link there as well. Okay, those are my announcements. We're going to go to reports from city departmental representatives. Captain Ratner from Station 19 is here from Atlanta Fire Department and Rescue. Do you want to start us off, Captain?
Sure, that sounds great. I just wanted to say thank you. This is going to be my first attempt at getting my feet wet with the NPU meetings. I'm sitting in for Chief Cottrell this evening, and just wanted to say thanks. If I catch a call, we are live, so if I catch a call, I have to get running. But I just wanted to let you know. Thank you so much. In May, we're celebrating International Firefighters Day, and we're also celebrating this upcoming week, National EMS Week. So if you're out and about, if anybody asks, celebrating basically our profession and us running calls, that's this month. Currently, we're also inspecting hydrants. So we're going to hold traffic up on certain roads, unfortunately, doing those hydrants, inspecting them. We will be flowing water. We will be painting and greasing them. If you have any issues where there's a hydrant that's leaking or you see any water running down the street that shouldn't be and you need us to turn it off, just let us know. We'll come back out. Um, car seat inspections are also ongoing. So if anybody needs to come by the stations and get their car seat inspected or have us install them, as long as they're a car seat tech at the station, we can handle those. Smoke detectors are also available at the fire stations. So if anybody needs a smoke detector, those are available. And then we're working still diligently to maintain our ISO ratings. And I just wanted to reach out and let you guys know about our safety spots. Each fire station has a safe spots location. So if anybody's in distress or anything, you can always refer them back to a fire station. And then I've got just a couple other announcements. We had Porch Fest here in Station 19 in Virginia Highlands this past week and went off pretty flawlessly for our EMS and fire services. This week upcoming when we have the Jazz Fest, and we're looking forward to that at Piedmont Park. And then two amazing announcements. On my shift on Saturday, we're getting a new firefighter. With that being said, he's going to be a probationary firefighter. His name is Jacob Mason. So if you want to stop at the station, bring the grandkids, the kids, have them come over. If you see us outside and we're pulling dummies or we're dragging hose, please don't get alarmed. It's just going to be ongoing training for the next 3 to 6 months, trying to get him ready for the stuff that we have to deal with. And last thing, pretty special to me, as my wife's grandfather was a captain at this station, and I'm pretty excited about being here as well. We had our 100th year anniversary in October, and the Atlanta Magazine did an article on Station 19, and it's coming out in June on the 100th year anniversary, and the article is coming out with it. So that's pretty much from the fire side of it. I don't know if anybody has any questions that I can answer, but thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Anyone have any questions for Captain Ratner? You did a good job, Captain.
Thank you so very much. I really appreciate y'all.
Thank you. And we appreciate you. Thank you for your service.
We love it here. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? We don't want to scare them away. Okay, I don't see any hands raised, Captain.
Okay. I'm gonna go grab some dinner since we've been running all day. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. Is there anyone here from Zone 2 or Zone 6?
Hello.
Captain Dearlove.
I just wanted to ask if he could leave his contact information in the chat, please.
I think it's there.
I didn't see it. That doesn't mean it's not there.
If not, we will track him down. Okay, I heard a voice from either Zone 2 or Zone 6.
Good evening, Captain Dearlove, Zone 2 Precinct.
Oh, hey.
Hello, everyone. Captain Ratner did a great job. I'll try to follow up with him. Captain Darla from the Zone 2 precinct. I just want to report out, we're still continuing to show decreases from last year. We're down 11%. For the Zone 2 precinct around the Morningside Piedmont corridor, our main issue is going to be property crimes, specifically theft from autos. So please, as we work to investigate the suspects involved in these incidents, you could do your part by just trying to keep your clean car. Don't leave anything inside the vehicles that would entice them to try to break in and cause a headache for you. Some events come up in Zone 2 from June, well, citywide, excuse me, from June 16th to July 5th. We're going to host 6 FIFA soccer events. Not a big soccer guy, but apparently this is going to be very huge for the city. It's going to be large fan base populations coming in from June 16th to July 5th. In addition to that, we also have our Peachtree Road Race on July 4th. The big pickup for the Peachtree Road Race is going to take place at Lenox Mall from July 2nd and July 3rd. But that's all I have. If anyone have any questions for me.
Anyone have any questions for Captain Dearlove from Zone 2?
I'll leave my contact info in the chat as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you did a good job too. Anybody here from Zone 6? I'm here from Zone 6. Okay, I don't hear any voices. Then we'll move on. APD Code Enforcement Officer
Roberts.
Roberts, yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Hi, I really hate to go behind Captain Ratner and Dearlove, but I am Officer Roberts with Atlanta Housing Code Enforcement. I'm actually sitting in for Officer Scott Glenn, who's minding her daughter. She just had surgery this week, and she's unable to attend tonight. So I'm going to put my contact in the chat again. For what I understand, if you come in after somebody puts their information in the chat, the new people will not be able to see it. So I'll just go ahead and hit send. So there it is. For everyone, if you have any questions, of course, I'll be happy to answer. We are in the growing season where our grass and weeds will start to get tall, and you want to keep that under 12 inches. Of course, if you guys see any, vagrants, in houses or trees on houses, cars parked on grass, that sort of stuff, you can always reach out to 311, or you can even email me or call my city cell phone, which is in the contact. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys may have at this time.
Thank you, Officer Roberts. Does anyone have any questions for code enforcement? This is housing code enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, can you leave it in the chat for Officer Roberts?
Or just contact me somehow directly.
Or just, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. ATL 311, Tamika Merriweather.
Good evening, guys. I have a shadow today, so I'm going to let Miss Jasmine Cobbs take the floor.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jasmine Cobb, and I am your ATL 311 ambassador. If you do need to report any non-emergency issues like any potholes, water main breaks, missed trash, code violations, or any challenges with city services, 311 offers 5 pathways to resolution. You can either dial 311 on your phone Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to midnight. You can also email atl311@atlantaga.gov, or you could set up your own account at atl311.com. Or you could also download our ATL 311 mobile app and chat with our virtual assistant, or contact us via social media to report any issues. Our contact information and a survey link has been placed in the chat. I'm here today to answer any questions about 311 services, document any cases requiring escalation, and have someone follow up with you directly. We also would like you to keep in mind that ATL 311's supportive services team is now has now extended their hours as of April 14th. They're open from 7 a.m. to midnight, Monday to Friday, to address all non-emergency quality of life concerns. And that flyer is also listed there in the chat. If you do not have a telephone number with an Atlanta area code, such as 470-770, 678-404, etc., you would need to dial the full 10-digit phone number to access 311. And that number is 404-546-0311. I will ask those that are able to use the chat function, utilize the chat at this time to answer any questions or report any issues. For those who cannot, I will open the floor now with my remaining time on the agenda to assist. And I do thank you for allowing me to present today.
Sure, thank you. Are you going to be our new ambassador?
I'm not assigned as of yet, but this is my first actual meeting presenting, so I may possibly be the new ambassador.
Okay. Thank you.
This is Tim Berube in Piedmont Heights. Just a heads up, I'm going to put something in the chat regarding an intersection we have.
Okay, I'll be happy to look at that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Marla Johnson?
Yes, Jasmine, you did a great job. I just wanted to say congratulations to Tamika because I saw she won or she was awarded the Community Ambassador of the Quarter. So I think that's exciting.
Oh,
Thank
congratulations.
you. And hopefully I'll have some good competition with Jasmine by my side.
Yeah, I'm going to compete with you.
Excellent. Sabrina Robbs?
Hi, and good day, Jasmine. Yes, you did an excellent job. And thank you, Tamika. I'm actually just wanting to follow up on, or the process on how to follow up on previous questions and concerns about the interstate or the section over here at Cheshire Bridge High Rise. And then there's an area that's directly across the street from the community at Cheshire Bridge High Rise where there was an accident and the bus stop has been torn apart and the construction there is just still rubbish. And I don't see that or wouldn't know if anyone's repairing that. But it's been like that for quite some time, like a few months now.
Okay, understood. In regards to MARTA bus stops, those would need to be taken care of by the actual MARTA. So I can provide you with a number to MARTA's customer service, and you can reach out to them about that. They are a separate entity, so we don't handle their issues as far as with their damages to their bus stops, but we would handle like if there was a trash can, something like that needed to be taken care of at the stop. But as far as the actual glass repair, we would not repair that. But I can definitely give you a number to MARTA as well as an email address.
Okay, that will work. And I am speaking of the areas around it. So there is, I guess, the building area that is, separate from the actual stop.
Okay,
there was just a bench there.
Okay.
Yeah, there was just a bench there and then a sign and just everything is just torn to shreds and it's just, just there. And it's like an eyesore. So I was just concerned about because it's directly in front of our community. We have inspections on a regular basis. So I just want to follow up and see the best way to kind of follow up on that.
Okay, do you have a previous case number when you reported this?
I don't have it, but I will look back into my notes and see. But I did speak with Tamika once. This is new for me as well. I'm like 4 months in now. And she instructed me on how to do that. So I can also find that, give it to you. And then the other situation was the crossing and speaking with Alex Wan as well, trying to get him to come out as well.
Okay. Yes, definitely. If you have previous case numbers, if you could put them in the chat and I will definitely look into them for you.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sabrina. All right, I don't see any other hands raised, so we'll go on to Public Works Code Enforcement or Parks and Recreation.
Hi, good evening. Officer Wall with Solid Waste Code Enforcement.
Oh, okay.
I'm filling in for Officer Spurlock, who is the covering officer for NPU-F. So I'll keep it brief in the reporting for tonight. I do have a couple reminders when it comes to yard work and cleaning in preparation for your yard. There's two options with yard trimming removal and leaf removal. I want everyone to be aware that is not aware that you are allowed to have a 32-gallon container marked yard trimmings on it for collection bi-weekly for your leaves and yard trimming debris that will be collected with your yard trimming bags. That's the other second option. You have the brown paper bags to store leaves. Now, with the brown paper bags, you have up to 21 before they're considered a bulk collection. Now, with filling those, please refrain from filling with dirt, mulch, or any sticks to damage any bags or to make pickup complicated. And we want to make the transition between disposals as smooth as possible. Also, for bulk collections, you can contact 311 to schedule a pickup. We do want to let you know when placing your bulk out for pickup, we recommend you put it out there the night before your scheduled pickup date, just to refrain from any disruptions with the pile. Make sure that it stays in place. We want you to have the placement away from anything that can obstruct damage. That includes fences, poles, trees, anything of that nature. Lastly, we will take illegal dumping reports. So that's any reports of dumping in the area, intersections, neighborhoods. We do take those reports as well. You can contact 311, and I'll also leave my contact information in the chat to make any of those reports. And that's all I have for you tonight. Any questions?
Okay, great. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? If not, we'll move on to Parks and Recreation. Anyone here from Parks? I don't see anyone. Watershed, Aisha Brown. Is Aisha here? Do you have a report?
Yes, I am. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I am Aisha Brown, your ambassador for Department of Watershed Management. I really don't have anything new, updated. So I just want to give the friendly reminder about our workshop, our DWM Learning Enrichment Workshops. They started back in April, and they range from anything from our rain barrel to our gardening and our compost, and it ends September 25th. So I did leave a flyer in the chat. I also left my contact information. I believe someone from here, the last month that I was here, they had a concern. So any questions or concerns, or if you have a case number, any information that you have, please use my email, and or you can also reach me by my city cell phone. That is pretty much all that I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Questions for Watershed Management? Okay, moving on to Fulton County Solicitor's Office. Janelle Bowles. I knew she was here earlier. There she is. No, okay. She must have stepped away. And the last is Office of Neighborhood Ombudsman, Clyde.
Thank you, Debbie. Good evening, everyone. It's been a minute since I've been here. My name is Clyde Mitchell. I'm your Neighborhood Relationship Manager in the Office of the Ombudsman, along with Dr. Jody Merriday. My contact information is in the chat, and I will post it again since I did it earlier. We can elevate concerns to departments, help you find information. We mediate disputes and explore options to resolve outstanding constituent and neighborhood issues. I also would like to let you know we do have In the meeting tonight, we have an intern fellow. Her name is Naya Grant. She's from LSU. She's been a tremendous access to our office. Since we had that neighborhood summit, we have been inundated with a lot of things, and she has been worked out greatly. I also want to point out that at the end of the month, please do go ahead and sign up for the Anti-Displacement Tax Relief Fund program. You have until the end of the month to do that. Mr. Cafton, we've been working on something. Did you get an email that was sent out by 6 p.m. this evening? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I saw it. I responded.
Okay, cool beans. So just keep me in touch. And again, I brought that up again today. So hopefully, once things are responded, we can get that resolved. Ms. Robbs, on the MARTA bus station stand situation, if you do email and you do have a case number, copy me on that too. Let us see what the Ombuds office can do to help you out in that situation. We've been able to do some things outside of the city's responsibilities. We've been successful in doing that. So let me get a stab at it. And again, that concludes my report. My information is in the chat. I do return phone calls and emails.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And hi, everyone. This is Naya. I just wanted to pop in and say hello, and I'll also put my email in the chat in case anyone needs it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Naya. All righty. Any other representatives from city departments? All right. Don't hear anybody else. So we're going to move to comments from elected officials. Are there any elected officials in the room tonight? I don't see any on the participant list.
Yes, Amber Madison is here from Councilmember Bond's office.
Yeah, Amber, you're not an elected official, but go ahead.
Okay. I'm Amber Madison from Councilmember Bond's office. This past Friday, Councilmember had the groundbreaking for the African American Veterans Memorial at Piedmont Park. It's going to take at least 6 months to finish the full project. Our next food distribution will be at St. Peter Missionary Baptist Church. That's on Venetian Drive. That'll be the first week of June. That will be June 1st. And then Councilmember Bond is also co-sponsoring a men's healthcare event with Councilmember Ishay Collins and Councilmember Antonio Lewis's office. It will be the weekend of Father's Day. That's June 14th. That's the Saturday. Men will be able to get free health screenings and haircuts. A lot of vendors will be there and a lot of fun. What else? I think that's it. If you have any additional questions for me or the council member, I'll be happy to take them at this time. Our office number is 404-330-6770. Councilmember Bond's email is mbond@atlantagA.gov. Mine is amadison@atlantagA.gov. And if you have any questions at this time, I'll be happy to take them.
Okay, any questions for Amber on behalf of Councilmember Bond's office?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't see any.
And I'll be here throughout the duration of the meeting. If anything comes up later, just see me and I'll be here as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're now ready to go to our consent agenda. This was placed in the chat at the beginning of the meeting. We have a number of BZA applications as well as special events applications. And as I mentioned at the top of the meeting, these are all applications that this NPU has approved, generally without any comment or discussion. There is an option to remove an item if there's anyone here that's opposed or would like to have it removed for discussion. First, the BZA applications. V2581 2236 Malante Drive Northeast in Lindridge Martin Manor. The applicant seeks a variance to increase the height of the fence within the half-depth front yard from 4 feet to 6 feet. Lindridge Martin Manor recommends approval. Is the applicant present? Is the applicant present? We can't approve it without someone here. Okay. The next is V2584, 623 Park Drive Northeast. The applicant seeks a variance to reduce the east side yard setback from 7 feet to 2 feet 4 inches. This is in Virginia Highland. Virginia Highland unanimously recommended approval, and that's their recommendation. Is someone here for Park Drive?
I'm here, Debbie.
Great, thank you. And the next is V2587, 1062 Reader's Circle Northeast. Applicant seeks a variance to reduce the front yard setback from 35 feet to 19.3 feet in Morningside. Morningside voted unanimously to recommend approval, and that's their recommendation.
I'm here, Debbie.
Alrighty, Nana, thank you. We have 3 special events applications. The first is the Atlanta Donut Festival. The applicant is Michelle Lewin. It's a Class E event, 500 participants in Piedmont Park on July 13th. The recommendation is to support. The next is the Smart BTA Stop the Violence Community Fair. Brenda Banks, applicant. It's a Class E event, 700 participants in Piedmont Park in the Meadow on August 23rd. Also a recommendation to support. And finally, ATL Holiday Market. Sydney Howell is the applicant. Class E, 1,950 participants in Piedmont Park, December 13th and 14th. And that's also a recommendation to support. Is Michelle here for the Atlanta Donut Festival? No, Michelle. Is Brenda Banks here for the Smart BTA Stop the Violence Community Fair?
I am here.
Great, thank you. And Sydney Howell for ATL Holiday Market? Sydney here? Doesn't look like it. Okay, we've got as many people here as not here. So let me ask, is there anyone here who is in opposition to any of these recommendations?
Hi, sorry, not in opposition, but I am BZA application V2598, and I didn't hear that called, but I am here.
Okay, that is further along in the agenda.
Apologies.
We do have you here. Okay. Is there anyone here who wants to remove an item from the consent agenda so that it can be discussed in the regular place on the agenda? Alrighty. And is there an applicant here who wants to have their application discussed at this meeting? All right. Not seeing or hearing anyone. So, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, but we will remove V2581, remove the Atlanta Donut Festival, and remove the ATL Holiday Market?
So moved. Tom?
I'll second. That's Kay.
Tom is made the motion and Kay has seconded. Okay, a motion's been made and seconded to recommend approval of the consent agenda, but removing V2581, the Donut Festival, and the Holiday Market. Are there any questions regarding the consent agenda or the motion? Okay, y'all ready to vote? This is where we use the raise your hand function for counting. If you go to, it should be like a react notation on your screen. If you're in favor, please raise your hand. This does require a unanimous vote in order for the consent agenda to be approved. Oh, there it is. Okay. Can everyone check their vote to make sure that their vote took? If you clicked on the wrong icon, it'll disappear, so it won't count.
Got 15, Debbie. Oh, 16. Oh, here they come.
Okay, some of us couldn't find our raise your hand.
We've got one double vote, so 18.
Okay, has everyone voted?
Oh.
Well, we're back down to 16.
Yeah, with one double. So
17 ayes. That's 17 ayes, Nate. All right, we're going to lower your hands. If there's anyone opposed to the consent agenda, please raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any nays. So by a vote of 17 ayes and 0 nays, the consent agenda minus those 3 applications have been approved. If your application was approved on the consent agenda, no further action will be taken on your application. So if you would like to leave the meeting, feel free. Okay. I'm going to go to the BZA applications next. The first application is 2236 Malante Drive in Linder Torrent Manor. The applicant wasn't present when we called the consent agenda. Is the applicant appeared? If not, is there a motion to defer the application?
Make a motion to defer, Tom.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, I heard another voice in there. Is it someone else had another comment or the? Okay. Okay. Motion's been made to defer the V25 81. Are there any objections to deferring this application to next month? Seeing none, the application is deferred. No objections. Okay, then next Wiley. Well, let me do the deferrals first, and then I'll pass this over to Wiley. Okay. Next one is V20. We approved V2084. The next one is
The Donut Festival.
no, I'm going through the BZA applications first. Okay. We've done Park Drive, we've done Reader's Circle. So Wiley, do you want to pick up where the rest of the BZA applications? Thank you.
Sure. Can you hear me this time?
It's a little better, but you'll have to speak up.
Okay. Yeah, we had trouble last week, and so I put on my headset. Hopefully, it's better. So the next one up is V25 85.
Oh, hang on for that. Is Nina still in the room?
Yes, I'm here.
Do you have time to do this one before you?
Yes, I do. I'm at two meetings. I'm at y'all's meeting and I'm at NPU-W on my iPad. So I'm juggling here. But yes, I'm here and ready to present.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
So V2585 applicant seeks the variance from the zoning ordinance to reduce the half depth front yard from 17 and a half feet to 7 feet. So the 13
Finally, you're fading out again.
road.
Debbie, once he turns his head away from the screen, we can't hear a thing.
Yeah, but it's the it's the headset that. All right, we'll go back to yelling at the laptop. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll yell at the laptop instead of the headset. So applicant seeks to reduce side yard setback from 17.5 feet to 7 feet. Is the owner or representative here to explain the project?
Yes, Wiley, Nina Gentry, I'm here.
Okay.
All right, I'd like to share my screen.
Go ahead.
The first document I'm going to share is our map of the neighbors that were notified. The neighbors that you see marks on here, and this was okayed by Marla. It took a lot of pushing and nudging to get responses from a couple of these folks. But there were 7 properties. We have 4 in favor, 1 we still haven't heard from, and 2 not supporting. However, the property here that's adjacent to the property, there is no variance requested near their rear yard because we're staying within the 15-foot rear yard. So now I'll run to the plans. And this is a corner lot, which means it has a greater setback than a lot typically does if it's mid-block. We're proposing a new home. We do not exceed FAR. We do not exceed lot coverage. This is unbelievably, it was unbelievable to me, an undeveloped lot in Morningside. It has never been developed. So that is why you're seeing so many of the X's, because this property has been sitting here. The trees will be replaced, a combination of new trees and recompense. And the builder and owner of the property is on the call tonight, should I not be able to answer all the questions. And I can show you elevations if you would like. Debbie, I know y'all got a big agenda, so I'll just let you lead me. And Wiley, I'm sorry. Wiley, I'll let you lead me.
Fine.
I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, or do we listen through the, what's the neighborhood position on this one?
They made no recommendation. Because at the David, are you on?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
We made no recommendation at the time because we did not have sufficient input from the neighbors surrounding. Now they've got they've got 2 that came in on the day that we were voting that said they did not support it. The one that just came in that you said supported came in today. And they're still missing one that is directly next to the property that's waiting for an attorney to review the plans. And I believe you had one that didn't say they supported it. They didn't say they didn't support it. They just said, okay, good luck. So I don't know.
Well, they're not opposed to it.
Is that your support? So
That's not it means they're not opposed to it, David.
okay. But that is why we made no recommendation on that. We didn't feel that we had enough input from the neighbors at the time. And we moved it to the MLP, which then they passed it along with no recommendation.
So that means you're not in a position to make a motion to support or deny.
At this point, we are not, no. Unless Do we have Marla out there?
Yes, I'm here, but we are not going to make a motion.
Yeah.
It'll have to come from someone on the meeting.
Yeah.
And I failed to point out, if I think, I wanted to make sure everybody understands that the setback we're going for along Meadowdale is 7 feet, which is the same setback it would be if it was mid-block. That does not mean the house is 7 feet from what you see as Meadowdale today, because there is no sidewalk in Meadowdale. I think one of the concerns of the neighbor at the northeast corner of Pasadena was how close the house would be to the street. Of course, we had no opportunity to talk with them directly, but I wanted to point that out. We're going for a 7 foot setback, which is normally what you would have if this was mid-block. Thank you.
Another concern that they raised were the number of trees that you're going to be taking down that line Meadowdale. That was one that was brought up by them.
But that
And
doesn't
that's
go
not
to
a
the
zoning
criteria
committee,
for
that's a-
variance.
One person at a time, please, so we get a good recording.
Yeah, that's not a zoning question as much as it is a arborist question. And we don't know how they're going to deal with that.
Amanda, you mentioned that a plan has been put together, a combination of recompense and new plantings. How was that arrived at? Was it the city arborist that worked through that with
No,
you?
I don't believe the builders worked with the arborist. Scott, can you respond to that? Scott, are you on? He was on earlier. He might have.
I guess if it was the city, if
I'm
it wasn't
looking.
the city arborist who calculated the recompense.
Well, that's done at the time generally.
Nina, I'm here.
Deal with, I'm sorry, yes?
Sorry for, I just figured out how to turn my
Oh,
thing
okay. Scott, you can answer that question, please.
I apologize. Yeah, I have not worked with the arborist. This is, obviously before we go into the permit process, which then that's usually the time we work with the arborist. So, I have not, but that's the plan, is to replant trees where they are better off.
I mean, this driveway is
half of them are right next to the curb, and then the other ones are in the buildable area. So
20 and 1.
And if I may, another reason for the house sited like it is because you have less frontage, only 50 feet on the front, and it goes up to a little more than that, but under 70 feet at the rear. So it's a trapezoid, and you got the narrower part here. This driveway will be removed, and I don't know that they have a tree planting plan that is normally done at the time you're permitting with the city. But again, this is a lot that's been here since it was owned by the people that lived here. If you see my hand on the screen moving. And when they sold their house, they then sold this as a separate lot.
So,
I hope that helped in answering questions.
For clarification, those two parcels were a single lot that was subdivided at some point?
At some point, but it's been here as a single lot for years and years.
Right. And this,
I don't know if it was originally platted this way or not. It may have been. I didn't go look at that because it's a recognized lot.
right. And this parcel has never been developed?
No, has not. Although there's a driveway. That is my understanding. Scott, am I still correct on that?
yeah, it's never been developed. The lot that the neighbor directly to the left owned both lots, subdivided it, built a new house, sold the house, kept the lot, and sold the lot to me, I don't know, 3 months ago. And that's where we're at. There's no water meter. I got to get a sewer tap, water meter, all the stuff.
Okay. And the setback reduction, is that from the street curb or is that from the right of way?
What did you ask? The setback?
Yeah.
The setback is measured from the property line, which is this line. And where this little hand is part of the right of way.
Okay.
So the setback is off the right of way, but it's right at where the right of way ends.
So if there's still room for a sidewalk to.
Oh yeah, still room for it. We were discussing that today, the fact that he'll be required to build a sidewalk with the planting strip. And there's no sidewalk here on either side of Meadowdale. So this would then start a sidewalk going toward Pasadena.
Okay, thank you. Wiley, there's two hands raised. The first is Charlie Captain.
Charlie Captain, your hand was up first.
You can let Nancy go first.
Okay.
Yes. Hi. How many trees are being impacted as a result of this setback request specifically?
7. Well, no, I can't count the ones that are in the buildable area. So that's 1, 2, 3, and then there are 4 right at the edges.
Okay. And then what effort in general has been made for a tree save on the property?
I'm sorry, say that again. I've got 2 meetings going on. I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
No problem. Yeah. What effort in general has been made for a tree save on the property? Are they saving any trees or is it going to be?
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure. Scott, you'll need to
There's
respond to that,
one in the back right corner of the lot. Or maybe there's 2. I think there's 2 back there, actually.
And it's currently a fully wooded lot?
It has never been developed.
Okay.
I don't know if,
I wouldn't necessarily call it heavily wooded.
No. Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the plat shows the trees, so.
Okay, thank you.
That's all that's on there. Other than that, it's just weeds.
Can you see my screen?
I can. I see.
Okay.
Are the X's trees?
The X's are the trees that are being removed.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, I'm ready to put forward a motion. It's whenever you guys are ready for the motion.
I think we want to hear from the neighbors. I don't think we've heard from them yet, Charlie, but so hold on to your motion. Are there any neighbors that are here that have comments? If you do, please raise your hand.
Don't see any.
Okay, Charlie?
Go ahead with the motion, Charlie.
Tim has got his hand up.
Tim?
Yeah, I was Tim Langen. Just curious how the setback along Meadowdale compares to the house on the other side of Meadowdale that faces Beach Valley. Just curious.
I'm sorry, Tim, I don't have that information. Scott, do you know what that is?
All 4 of those houses that are on Meadowdale are very close to the street. I didn't go to their house and measure, but very, very close. You can probably see on the plat. I don't know if it shows the house across the street, but
let me go up to the survey.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can pull up 9 of the street view.
Those aren't the houses he's asking about. So just let me go to the survey. It might, and it doesn't have.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sometimes they show them, but this one doesn't. Sorry, yeah. Tim.
All 4 of the houses, or all 3 of the houses that are on Meadowdale there in that block are, like I said, if they're more than 15 feet, I'd be surprised. I'm thinking more like 12 at the most from the curb. So that includes the right of way. And then
Okay, thanks, Scott.
Yeah.
Any other comments from the neighbors?
Anne has her actual hand raised.
Okay. Unfortunately, Nan, we can't see your hand being raised when the screen's being shared. So, okay, go ahead. Make sure you unmute, folks.
Sorry, you muted me. I live on Meadowdale, and I just want to make a point that that property was something. It was a very wide frontage lot. There was a house sited in the opposite way across, completely facing Beach Valley. So now that then someone sold it, and they demoed that house and they put up a house maybe 15 years ago that goes deep into the lot. And so this, it's just not 100% accurate to say it's never been developed before. There was a house on half of it.
Well, ma'am, there's a house still here on half of it. The house they built.
Well, did they subdivide the lot?
Yes, ma'am.
So then.
That was many years ago, though.
Right. So I'm saying that there used to be one house across what is now two lots.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand that. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Is there anyone else? Okay, Charlie's now gone on mute.
Okay, I'll put forward a motion to deny the application.
Okay, is there a second to the motion to deny? Does someone want to second the motion to deny?
I'll second the motion to deny.
So let's
show you how you do this. I just did it. Okay.
So a motion's been made and properly seconded to recommend denial of V2585 at 1304 Beach Valley Road. Are there any questions regarding the motion or the application? Okay, y'all ready to vote?
Do you do a call? I mean, is that your call for discussion after the second?
Yep, that is my call for discussion. Tim, go ahead.
I was just going to say is you do see these regular, a lot of times you kind of evaluate these under the idea of what's the BZA likely to approve, and therefore what can, neighbors around them sort of get in return for support, knowing what the BZA, would. It's the reason I asked that question about how are the other houses. If they come back with measurements and say, we're kind of asking what most of the other houses are within a couple feet of what the other houses around us have, you're going to likely get a BZA approval of it. So I would, getting some conditions out of the homeowner to do something in return would is normally a good approach, right? The BZA, they'll look at just that side yard thing. So that's all I would say. I'm not sure that the BZA is going to turn this one down. So I would, if I'm the neighbor, I would want to, work with them to see if we can come to an agreement on, how the trees and other stuff would be handled. Preferably, not negotiated here at this meeting, but yeah, that would be my approach if I was the applicant or a neighbor who wasn't particularly happy this was happening, knowing what, just know what the BZA is going to approve.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Any other comments? Catherine?
I just say I looked up on Google Maps. It looks like the other houses along that street are really, really close to the road. So along with what Tim said, I'd say talk to the neighbors about how you're going to replace what looks like pine trees. Maybe if they can come back and say they're going to plant X number of native trees or something would be helpful.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments? I do have a question. Has anyone measured the number of inches that are being lost?
Was that for me, Debbie?
Or anyone that has the information? Do you know?
Oh, I'm sorry. I stopped sharing, so I don't have it up now.
I have not counted the inches on the trees. I think, are they on the plat? I don't
I'll have to go back and pull it back up. I mean, we'll have to meet the tree ordinance, whatever
for
tree
sure.
ordinance is in
That's
place at the
not a
time we
variance.
file.
Right. Okay, are there any other comments or questions? Any other comments?
Thank you very much. I'm still an NPU-F.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I see no other comments, questions, or hands raised. So are we ready to vote? And if we are, the motion is to recommend denial. It was properly seconded. All those in favor of the motion to deny, please raise your hand. And make sure you click on the raise your hand function because other icons will disappear on us. Like the clapping hands and the thumbs up, those are going to go away. So please check your icon. Oh, they're gone. Okay, has everyone voted that is eligible to vote or cares to vote to recommend denial? I count 13. Does that?
Yeah, 13. I think Ann Christopher had her hand physically raised, not the virtual hand, but I lost her from my screen.
Okay.
That's correct.
All right. Let me see if I
Of course,
can.
the count's dropped to 12 now, so it's back to 13 with Ann.
Okay, I don't see Ann on the screen and
I'm sorry, I cannot make my hand go up. My logo or my icon. So I'm doing my own hand.
okay, once again, we can't see it because
See it now.
of the number of people in there. Okay, so that would be 14 ayes. All right, if you're opposed, and we're going to lower the. Oh, Tom, do you concur that it's 14 or is it 13?
It dropped to 12, so with Ann, it makes it 13 by my count.
Okay, 13 ayes.
Yes,
All
13
right.
ayes.
If you're opposed to the motion to recommend denial, please raise your hand. If you're eligible to vote in NPU-F and you're opposed to the motion to recommend denial, please raise your hand. Okay, I'm counting 5. Is that?
Agreed.
All right, by a vote of 13 ayes and 5 nays, the motion to recommend denial carries. And I've made some notes on the reason for denial. I just want to confirm that the primary reason is the number of trees that will be lost with this project. And there's also concerns about the setback reduction in the proximity to the street.
All right. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Say hello to Sky.
Thank you, Nina.
Bye.
Debbie, I think the other concern is, the other concern that I heard from MLPA, why they made no recommendation was lack of consultation with neighbors in general and on these specific issues.
Okay, thanks, Charlie. And I did receive some emails from folks that I'll refer to when I prepare my note back to the BZA. Okay, Wiley, I usurped your meeting long enough. You're
Okay.
Go back.
Moving on. So V2587 was on the consent agenda, so we'll skip over that one. Now we're going to V2592. Applicant seeks a variance from the zoning ordinance to reduce the east yard setback from required 7 to 0 feet, reduce the rear yard from the required 15 feet to 1.1 feet. This is at 1011 McLean Avenue. Is the owner here or representative to explain the project?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Eric Rothman, and I'm here I can walk you through the project. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so to begin with, this is if you can see what I've put up, this is the property's 1011 McLean Avenue, and then the houses in colors are all have all provided letters of support. The color coding was really for the neighborhood association because we got some additional letters of support after they when they requested it. So we have letters, actual letters, which are included in the packet, which we sent out for all of these, all of the surrounding neighbors, including the back, and then the 3 across the front or opposites. Site plan it's actually fairly simple. There's an existing garage on the footprint. So we were asking to build a second story under roof on top of the existing structure, and not so the garage is already there, and it was already built with a variance that was approved in 2001, and we know that it was approved because they were allowed to rebuild the garage, but also because the plan reviewer told us that there was an approval. Problem is that there was a flood in 2007 or 8, and they can't find the actual documentation of what that variance actually said. And so without that, they require us to get a new variance. So we're basically getting the same variance, I think, that we had before. We were able to find, thanks to the MLPA, we were able to find, let me just get over to that. Don't do that. The wording, this was actually from the archives of the minutes of the neighborhood association and the variance that was approved, which basically says garage placed in present footprint, overhang not to cross property line, and have gutter with downspout directed on owned property. Non-combustible siding due to proximity to other building, usual 4 conditions plus site plan. Zoning committee voted approval to pass unanimously. So that was the wording that was in the in their minutes from, and this was from 2000, September 11th, 2000 meeting, which was a long time ago. And actually, Stephen, who was the one who wrote this, is actually still on the committee, so he doesn't remember it, of course, because that was 25 years ago. But that's basically what it said. So to show you, and I'll go quickly through this unless you have specific questions, but let me go ahead and just so this is the current garage and the structure here. It's a shared driveway. So the and it goes, so the neighbor to the left, and then this house shares a driveway that goes all the way up. This shed that's right here is actually owned by the neighbor, and then we have this structure here. So what we want to do is combine this into one garage door, but then leave the first floor, including the foundation, including the slab, including the ceiling joists, and then go and add a partial second story under roof on top of that. The intent is to do is for like a home office. Currently, and I'm not joking, he works he works in the crawl space. It's an unfinished 6.5 foot crawl space. So he's in definite need of something to a place to go and work for real. So full bathroom in there. It's a partial bar kind of kitchen, no cooking surface at all, and fairly small. The access is going to be through a stoop, 30-inch high stoop that's here, and then interior stairs. So with the exception of this little 30-inch stoop, we are not increasing the amount of lot coverage. And since it's actually an existing non-conforming lot. So in order to make up for that additional 20 square feet of coverage, we've removed an extraneous sidewalk in order to offset that. So that was basically it. There's a tree that's right here and I'll show you from the site plan. There's a tree that's right here. This is all concrete, but we've got a plan, and we've worked with our arborist to do a root bridge to protect it. There's been discussion about replacing the shed. It's in bad shape for the neighbor to allow us to build it and then come back in. Obviously, there's an access easement that exists because this driveway is shared. So that's it for me, and I'll answer any questions you guys have.
Any questions?
Anyone have any questions? Okay, I don't see any questions. Morningside?
No, we're good with this one.
Okay, Morningside, would you like to make a motion then?
I make a motion we approve as presented.
I
Is there a
second.
Okay, great.
Okay, so that was David Lyle that made the motion. Who seconded it?
I did, Charlie.
Okay.
Any discussion on the motion?
Or the application? I do have a question. How are you planning to maintain the property if you're sitting on the 0 lot line?
We had the same question, and they've been doing it since they built the garage first time. They have that room next to they've got a little bit of space in between that shed that's there. And they can get a person in there to paint or whatever. It looks like they're putting a brick facade on that, so the maintenance on that level will be very minimum. Eric, in the back of it, you've got a little bit of space too that you can get around, correct?
Eric's talking, but we can't hear him. and you're unmuted, so I'm not sure what's happening.
He probably thinks we all hear him.
Yeah. So
there you are.
Okay,
yes.
You can hear me. Okay, good. All right. Sorry. Thank you, Marla. Yeah. So the corner of the 0 lot is actually in this corner, and there's a 1.5 feet. There's a little more than a foot here and 2.5 feet. So I've got pictures of the back area if you want to see it, but you can get in there. The theory is that because there's an access easement, that's because it's a shared driveway, we should be able to get back in there for access in order to maintain it, but we are using fire rated materials as required by the city, and then also materials like brick and cementitious siding to minimize any kind of maintenance that's required.
To Tim's previous comments regarding the BZA, I don't know if you've watched any of their meetings lately, but the last one I watched, it's a brand new BZA board. They've just turned over brand new members. And there was a discussion of some property on a 0 lot line that they voted to deny because of the maintenance issue. So expect a lot of questions from them and possible rejection of your application.
Yeah, I mean, I do anticipate some pushback. I'm hoping that because there's an actual easement, an access easement, that would count for our ability to be able to maintain it.
Okay.
But yes, you're absolutely right.
Okay,
All right. It's been motioned and seconded to approve the application. Time to vote.
all those in favor of the motion, please raise your hand. The number's still changing.
Yeah, they're still going up. Looks like we're settling in at 22, including the 2 for 1.
Okay, we'll call it 22 ayes. If you're opposed to the application, oh, let me lower your hands. Okay, if you're opposed to the application, recommendation of approval, please raise your hand. I don't see any hands raised, so by a vote of 22 ayes and 0 nays, the motion to recommend approval carries. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For what it's worth, I was on the BZA in 2000 and I don't remember this application.
Why not?
Next application.
Okay, next application, and I believe it's the last one. It is V2598. Applicant seeks special exception from the zoning to reduce front-facing garage to recess from the minimum distance of 10 feet behind the front facade down to 0 feet. Special exception to remove the requirement of front porch with a roof and roof supports, and remove the requirement for a front door facing the street. This is 1914 Wildwood Place Northeast. Is the owner or representative here to explain the project?
Yes, hi, Andy Lieberman. I'm the homeowner. So the project, what we're trying to solve for is we are looking to add a garage and a primary bedroom, which will enable our family of 4 to have all sleep on the same level. We have 2 young children, ages 2 and 6, and this is a split level home. And this, in consultation with our architect, we cut it several different ways, and this was really the only way to accomplish a garage and enable us to have 3 bedrooms on the same level. So the ask is, we are asking for a special exception, which is not a variance as I understand it, because we're staying within the setback parameters. So the ask to, essentially what we're asking for is to allow the garage, which is front facing, to be the most front facing portion of the facade of our home. There is precedent across the street at 1913 Wildwood Place where that garage is front facing and is also the most frontward portion of the existing structure. That ask to enable that is creating the following 2 asks, which are to remove the requirement for a front porch and to remove the requirement for a front door that's visible from the street. When we set this up, again, in consultation with our architect and some inspiration from a home on Berkshire, what we're essentially creating is a courtyard entry. So you will enter the house through essentially a right turn into the courtyard. That courtyard, just by default of being there, does not enable you to see the front door from the street. And also the design does not call, the way we've designed it, it does not contain a front porch. So those are our asks. We feel like we have precedent across the street. I have the plans. I think you may have the plans, but happy to share them if it's easier to see a visual. We did get approval from all 7 adjacent surrounding neighbors in writing. And we did also get approval from the local MLPA.
Do you have anything to share on screen?
Yes, sorry, I will try that. Are you able to see that picture?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the right hand side of the image is the existing structure, and the left with the garage door is the contemplated new build. This is another view from this angle. And then, as I mentioned, if you were to enter from the side, this is our courtyard entry that I referred to. I can back up to a front-facing elevation plan, if that helps.
So could you go back to the front of the house so that
Sure.
folks will see from the street?
Yep. These are, maybe we should back up. These are the existing conditions. So this is the front of the house as it is today. And this is the same view from the side. This would be the courtyard entry. And what we're proposing is this, which would essentially add what I'm calling a cube next to the existing structure, which would form this garage and primary bedroom above, and then enable a courtyard entry, which would not make the front door visible from the street.
So that's not really a front door, it's a side door.
Yeah. Well, that is to the garage. What you can't see, unfortunately, is there's this image of a person. Well, this is the front door is behind those trees currently, and that would also be depicted by those shadows there, those images of people which would be exiting the front door. So you have to go around. It's a side courtyard entry to the front door.
Okay, but it's still the side of the house. When someone's exiting the house, they are not facing the street.
No, they will go to the driveway and walk down the driveway after making a turn out of a right turn out of the front door.
Okay.
This same setup we more or less emulated on a neighborhood home, and that inspiration plus the house across the street with precedent front-facing garage are where we kind of drew our plans from.
Any other questions for the applicant? All right, MLPA, did you have a position on this? How did it go?
Yeah, we approved it as planned, and I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve as planned.
Is there a second?
This is Marla, I can second.
Thank you.
Okay, David and Marla. Okay. Are there any questions regarding the motion or the applicant? Just for clarity, Andy.
Yes.
I read through your application today. Is your justification that you want to do it because other people have done it?
Well,
Hey, Andy, can I jump in for a second?
Please, yes.
His main justification is there is nowhere else on that lot to put a garage. So if he doesn't put the garage where they're putting it, he cannot have one. The houses on that street, I would say majority of them have front-facing garages, and there are a few that actually have the garage that is set in front of the house. So that kind of gives them the precedence for that. And I will tell you, it's my house on Berkshire, that has the side courtyard entrance that he got the inspiration from. And we had no issues with the city over that.
Okay, and when was yours built?
2019 and 20 over COVID.
Okay. Because the city ordinance changed in 2019 that required a garage built to be 10 feet behind the front of the house. Also with the porch requirements in the front facing forward. So the precedents that he talks about on Wildwood, based on what I saw as I looked at Google Maps, looked like they were built long before the ordinance changed.
And I understand that point, but I also understand that there is no other place to put a garage.
Right. No, I hear you.
Beside facing one, the way the lot is set, and get the cars in it.
Right.
So that's why we had no problem with the special exception, especially since it's all within the building footprint.
Okay, other questions regarding the motion or the application?
Okay. Don't see any.
Ready to vote?
Let's vote.
All right, if you're in favor of the motion to recommend approval of V 2598 at 1914 Wildwood Place, please raise your hand.
Six, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16.
Okay, does someone have their hand raised that I'm not seeing?
I see 15 plus a 2.
Is there two? I didn't see the two.
Yeah, David, Lyle, and Fred.
2, 4, 6, 8,
Healers.
12, 14, 15, 16.
16 is what I count.
16 ayes. And if you're opposed to recommend approval, please, oh, let me lower your hand.
I got it. I got it, Debbie.
Okay, great. Thanks, Tom. Okay, if you're opposed to the motion to recommended approval, please raise your hand.
Zero.
Okay, I don't see any hands raised.
No hands.
And so by a vote of 16 ayes and 0 nays, the motion to recommend approval carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that gets us through the BZA applications. We have no LRB applications today, so let's go back to special events. Is there a motion to defer the Atlanta Donut Festival?
Motion to defer, Tom?
Is there a second?
Second, Wiley.
Wiley, great. Okay, any objections to deferring the Atlanta Donut Festival to next month? Hearing none, motion carries without objection. Next application is R&B in the Park. This is a Piedmont Park Conservancy event with 2,000 participants in the Piedmont Park Promenade Legacy Fountain on July 19th, 2025. Is the applicant present? Tim Hudson, I'm sorry. I don't see him here. Okay, this is not a good thing. Is Tim Hudson present? Okay, I don't see him. Is there a motion to defer?
Motion to defer, Tom?
Second, Wiley.
Okay. Motion's been made to recommend a deferral till next month. Are there any objections to deferring to next month? Okay. We'll defer without objections. Next one is the Red Bull Show Run Atlanta. Class B event, 49,999 exactly. At Piedmont Park Meadow on August 9th, 2025. Is Michael King or Kyle Shackert present, or anyone representing Red Bull Show Run Atlanta? This is going to move along pretty quick. Okay. Is there a motion to defer?
So moved.
Second.
Wiley and Tom. Any objections to deferring to next month? It's going to be a long meeting next month. Okay, it's deferred without objections. Next one is the Smart BTA Stop the Violence Community Fair. This is on our consent agenda. They were not present. For August 23rd in the Meadow, Class C, 700 participants. Is the applicant present now? Brenda Banks was the applicant.
Yes, I'm present.
Great, Brenda. Okay, I'm sorry we missed you earlier. Do you want to tell us about your event briefly?
Okay, so that's for the BTA Smart Stop the Violence Festival. Okay, so this is our 4th year, I believe, and we just come together just to raise awareness in the community of the violence that's impacting a lot of us. So we have vendors, performers, speakers.
What are the hours of your event?
1 to 7.
And do you have amplified music?
Yes.
And do you expect 700 or participants or more?
Well, we always expect 700, but we haven't really gotten 700 the last couple of years.
And who is your security lead?
It's I think he's at Atlanta PD.
What's his name?
Clark, Officer Clark.
Oh, okay. Chris Clark.
Yes.
Alrighty. Does anyone else have any questions? Is there a motion?
It's like Vic has a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, wasn't this approved under the consent?
I thought so too, but yeah.
It was.
Okay,
Yes.
we were here earlier. Okay, well, we learned more about your event. We don't need a motion. But thank you for being here and answering my questions.
No problem.
It happens when you have long agendas. Okay, thank you, Brenda.
And I'm good to go, right?
Yep, you can go. You could have gone a long time ago.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Pure Heat Community Festival, Melissa Scott, Class C, 19,999 participants.
I grab this call. I'll call you right back.
Melissa,
I am here. Yes.
great. Okay, this is a recurring event and it will be held August 31st. Is it just a one-day event?
Yeah, we're going back to the one day. We only did the 2-day last year for Global Black Pride. That was it.
Okay, do you want to tell us about any changes?
So a change from 2024, but back to what we've been doing for the last 14 years. So basically, we'll move back to the area that's at the entrance of Charles Allen and 10th. That will be the main stage area for 2025. Of course, in the metal area, we'll still have some of the like kid games and things like that. But we'll have the youth festival. We'll move over to Dockside, which we typically use that space for the house music, and then we'll move the house music over to the pavilion. And that's it. Everything else will go exactly back to how it's been for the last few years, 14 years. The food vendors would live on Charles Allen, just down that walkway, and the festival kind of contains within just that grassy area right there on 10th and Charles Allen.
Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. Obviously, schools in session by this time. What's the load in, load out situation?
Load in, it's back to 1 day. However, we load in the major pieces on the Saturday from noon to 5 p.m. And then on Sunday, we start loading in at 6 a.m., being the main stage, being like the large pieces, like the trailers, etc. And then from 8 to 10 a.m. are the merchandise vendors, which are literally just loading in their items, because the tents and things of that nature have been loaded in the day before. That's load in. Vehicle traffic stops at 11:45. Festival begins 12 to 9 o'clock. Pedestrians are out, and then we start load out same day. The only thing that extends over until Monday, the cleaning company obviously comes back with the sun up now and does another once through, and the pressure washing of the actual streets.
No disruption to high school traffic.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Monday is a holiday as well, so things are closed. School is closed, excuse me.
What entrance do you use to load in and load out?
10th and literally the gate by the green restroom on the corner of Charles Allen.
Yeah.
That double gate.
Oh, okay, great. Any other questions?
What was the size? What was the count? The head count?
For this class?
Oh.
For this class festival or in general, or?
Yeah, the size. Yeah, that on the
This
application.
is a class, I think it's a class
Class C.
Class C, which is 19,999.
Okay, any other questions? Is there a motion?
I'll move to support.
Thank you, Kay. Is there a second to the motion to support?
This is Marla. I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions regarding the motion or the event? This is our discussion phase. If not, are we ready to vote? All those in favor of recommending approval of Pure Heat Community Festival on August 31st, please raise your hand. Okay, I think the number is stabilized. Tom, what's your count?
16.
16?
Yeah.
16 ayes. Lower the hands. If you're opposed to recommending approval of the Pure Heat Community Festival, please raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any hands raised. So by a vote of 16 ayes and 0 nays, the motion to recommend approval or support carries. Next application is Atlanta Alive, Class C event, 19,000 participants in Piedmont Park, The Meadow, November 14th through 16. Is Joseph Turnbull present? or anyone representing Atlanta Alive? I don't see Joseph. I don't hear any voices. Is there a motion to defer?
So moved.
That was Wiley. Is there a second?
Tom seconds.
Second. Okay, are there any objections to deferring this application to a later month? Hearing none, the motion carries without objection. All right, and last special event application is the ATL's Holiday Market. This is a Class C event, 1,950 participants in Piedmont Park, December 13 to 14. Sydney Howell is the event organizer. Is Sydney present or someone representing the ATL Holiday Market? Okay, they've been on our agenda for several months.
Hey, Debbie, I think that was part of the consent that we deferred.
Well, when we approved the consent agenda, we didn't do any of the deferrals.
Oh, okay.
So that's what we're catching up on.
Okay. I apologize.
Do you want to make a motion to defer?
I make a motion to defer.
Okay, great. Thank you, David. Is there a second? I'm sorry, who's Marlo?
Second, Wiley.
Oh, Wiley, thank you. Okay, are any objections to deferring the ATL Holiday Market in December? The motion carries without objection. Okay, we just have a little bit more voting matters. Excuse me. This chokes me up, Nate. The next is the Land Use Amendment Comprehensive Development Plan 25-0-12-24 CDP 25-1. This is the adoption of Plan A, which is the Comprehensive Development Plan. Nate, is there anything that you want to help us with here?
Oh, thank you, Debbie. Thank you, NPU-F. Thank you all for your participation tonight, as well as participation for the past 18 months. We updated this comprehensive plan this year with a lot of public engagement in coordination with Zoning 2.0 meetings. So again, I really just appreciate NPU-F's participation. You guys are great coming out to all of our meetings, seeing you guys at pop-ups, having small group conversations about your NPU-F policy updates, your land use maps, and anything else I could handle. You all were great. So just a few things. I know that Doug has presented to you all a recap of our public participation, highlights of what's in Plan A this year. I just want to make some points here that tonight the adopting Plan A is a voting item. You would be the 20th NPU taking a vote this month. All 19 previous NPUs have supported it pretty overwhelmingly. You are not voting on zoning 2.0. The zoning ordinance will be in front of you sometime next year. So this is not the zoning ordinance. This is the citywide comprehensive plan, which guides the zoning ordinance as well as other tools to implement our vision and ideas in plans and initiatives and small area plans. The next step for me is to gather the rest of the NPU supports votes later this month. Over the next few days, I have my NPU, NPUD on Tuesday with the final 2 or 3 others. We go to our public hearing on June 4th. It's our CDHS public hearing for all the CDP amendments, land uses, some small area plans, but Plan A will have a public hearing on June 4th. Then we'll go to CDHS for their vote on probably the 24th of June, and then full council on July 7th. And I anticipate it will be signed by the mayor within 10 days of that. So it'll be in effect in mid-July. So here to answer any last minute questions, concerns, but again, I really do appreciate everyone's volunteer time.
Thank you. And just as a reminder, I sent out a document that Nate provided that includes the pages that are specific to NPU-F in our reminder letter. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look at that, please do. Nate, is there any more opportunity for public comment, or have you shut that down totally?
No, this is still a draft until council and the mayor adopts it. If you have specific comments, suggestions to make revisions, please work through your NPU chair. This is really the time for the NPUs to provide their specific thoughts on the plan. But again, I'm more than welcome to take public comments. But yeah, just please email plana@atlantaga.gov or work through Debbie or whoever's from your chair or leadership group to submit your any final thoughts.
Okay, does anyone have any comments or wants to make a motion regarding Plan A?
Yeah, Debbie, this is Tom. I had a quick question for Nate. I just wanted to confirm that the standardization of the neighborhood commercial definitions and the more standardized definitions, that occurs in zoning 2.0, not in Plan A. Is that correct?
Yeah, your neighborhood commercial zoning districts and C1 and C2, that's all zoning, not the land use policies. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions? Tim Lang?
Yeah, I have one. Remind me, is it the adoption of this, the revision to the update to the CDP that we're making a recommendation on tonight, along with the other NPUs have done, or is it zoning 2.0 that changes that term land use to, and I'm drawing a blank, to a certain type, or there's a change to the term land use for a parcel or set of parcels? Is that what this one does, or is that zoning 2.0? I know it's a bit of semantics thing, but I'm curious.
Yeah, so the city of Atlanta has 2 layers of land use policies. That's character areas and future land use designations. This plan, this 5-year update, we're actually consolidating character areas and future land use into development patterns. So we introduced development patterns about 18 months ago. We had workshops, including one in NPU-F several months ago. So yes, development patterns will be the new future land use. So when you will see a rezoning request coming in for, like, I don't know, go from R4 to RG3, you'll probably see a CDP amendment that will go from single family to low density residential. Instead of calling it future land use, it'll be called development pattern.
Got it. Okay, that's what I thought. Thanks.
That's good clarification. Good question. Thanks, Tim. Anyone else? Does anyone want to make a motion?
It's Tom. I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, David. Okay, any other questions, comments, concerns, discussion regarding the adoption of Plan A, the city's 2025 Comprehensive Development Plan?
I just want to confirm again that a decision on this is completely independent from the zoning 2.0, correct?
Yes. Zoning ordinance will come to you, and more than likely, I mean, I can guarantee it, sometime next year when the zoning ordinance comes in front of all the NPUs, there'll be a companion CDP amendment, like updating the compatibility table to have the new zoning districts. So you'll see me again, or someone or Doug, talking about Plan A, because we have some things that are so closely tied to the zoning ordinance when it gets adopted next year. But yes, totally separate.
Okay, and they're closely tied, but does approval of this give, what's the word I'm looking for? Does it one way or another influence? Okay, so if you're opposed to zoning 2.0, what you know of it currently,
It have no bearing
okay,
on this.
Thank you. I just want to confirm.
Yeah, you may also be getting at that the CDP is aspirational. There is nothing in it that is a requirement for a developer to follow. Right, Nate? Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So it's apparently sort of like the Beltline Master Plan.
No, it carries a lot more weight than that. I mean, the CDP is the document that the city says what the future land use of that is. It carries significant. It's at the top of the hierarchy.
No, not necessarily, Tim. And I'll use the Atlanta Botanical Gardens storage facility as a example.
Well, that was an administrative mess up in an ordinance that passed by city council. That wasn't saying that didn't say the CDP didn't apply.
But the CDP did not include another storage facility.
I understand council had made a mistake a couple of years before that I think they recognized and then they corrected. But the CDP is absolutely at the top of the hierarchy. You know, if I've got there were single family houses on Peachtree Road as recently as not very many years ago where a high rise was next to them and they were sitting in high density land use. And that mattered the absolute most when they came and said, hey, even though the house, believe it or not, some of these things were still zoned R2 or whatever, or R3 on Peachtree Road, their land use for high density mattered. Like that was the top of the hierarchy. Any other kind of overlay plans did not measure up to what in state law mean what the CDP does. I just didn't like the comparison there. It is the top of the hierarchy. The state mandates you have the comprehensive development plan update like this.
Absolutely, I agree. But there's no, if the zoning ordinance is not consistent with the CDP land use, then the zoning ordinance wins. Okay. There's a motion to recommend approval. It's been properly seconded. Is there any other discussion regarding the motion or the CDP? Okay, then I think we could be ready to vote. All those in favor of the motion to recommend approval of the CDP, please raise your hand.
Looks like we've stabilized at 16.
Okay, 16 ayes. Let's take those hands down.
I got them.
Oh, great. Thank you. If you're opposed to recommending approval of the CDP Plan A, please raise your hand. Has everyone voted that wants to vote? Okay, I see one nay.
Agreed.
Okay, by a vote of 16 ayes and one nay, NPU-F is recommending approval. Okay, thanks, Nate. Next, this is the last matter for voting. This is Z2515. It's a substitute ordinance. We saw it last month. It's an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance to create a definition for vape shops and elementary and secondary schools, and to amend the regulations in various districts to require 1,000-foot distance between vape shops, elementaries, and secondary schools. As I said, this is a substitute ordinance. The substitute is a result of recommendations from our sister NPU-R to add child care nurseries, daycare centers, pre-kindergartens, kindergartens, play and other special schools or daycare facilities for young children to the legislation. And these locations have been added to the 1,000-foot distance requirement. The ZRB will vote on this item in June. And we've been asked to make sure that our recommendation is based on the substitute, not the original. Anybody have any questions regarding this ordinance? We discussed it last month briefly. Now we've got an addition to other facilities that would require a distance requirement. Any questions? If not, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
Tom?
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you, David. Okay, any questions regarding the ordinance or the motion?
To clarify, Debbie, the motion is to approve it as amended by the suggested additional language.
That's right, it's a substitute. Any other questions? All right, if not, let's vote. If you're in favor of recommending approval of the substitute motion, please raise your hand. Okay. I'm counting 17, okay. 17 ayes.
Clear on.
Oh, thank you. If you're opposed, please raise your hand. If you're opposed, please raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any hands raised. So by a vote of 17 ayes and 0 nays, the motion to approve this substitute motion carries. Yay. Okay, that's it for voting matters. Now for housekeeping, is there a planner's report, Nate?
Nothing spectacular. There's the Urban Land Institute has a pretty cool workshop later in June with the NPU team. So I can drop that link in the chat. My colleague Liza has her monthly book club tomorrow at our studio. That's in coordination with Moda. It looks like a pretty cool book. If you have time to go down and check us out at our studio on Mitchell Street, feel free to join us. Other than that, yeah, nothing else.
Okay. Thank you. And you said you put it out in the chat? Okay. All right. Neighborhood and committee reports, Linda to Martin Manor. Not present. Piedmont Heights.
Hey everyone, not much to report in Piedmont Heights. I don't know that anybody in the Pie High Alliance is on, but Nikado Restaurant is getting ready to close its dining rooms in anticipation of remodeling and renovation, which we're all excited about. And the Cheshire Bridge cleanup was moved to Saturday, June 7th because of the thunderstorms last Saturday. Other than that, that's all I've got. Oh, one thing did come up in our Zone 2 meeting is I understand now that Fire Station 29, they're looking at the end of 2026, beginning of 27 to be in their new digs in the Marta area on Lindbergh. So it's not as imminent as I thought it was originally.
Oh, okay, great. Thanks, Susan.
Welcome.
Morningside Lenox Park.
We had a wonderful turnout at our concert in the park, the spring concert in the park. And I know Debbie, you were on the call with Doug Widener about the Tacos and Tequila Festival in Piedmont Park that everyone could hear, at least a mile and a half away. And it was very refreshing to see how open he is to working with the neighborhoods and apologetic for the impact that that event had and the changes that neighbors have asked for and that he would like to try to implement moving forward, knowing that it's still a work in progress. But we appreciated the opportunity that he's very open and willing to work with us.
He also said that while they had committed to 5 amplified events a year, that they're actually only going to do 4 this year, which was nice to hear.
Yeah.
Okay. Virginia Highland.
Yeah, Tim Langen here. The just a couple things. One, Kevin Cronin wanted me to make sure it was just clarified. But we had, Porch Fest was this weekend in Virginia Highland, and it just wanted to clarify that wasn't a VHCA event. That was a Virginia Highland District event. Just to clarify that. We are, as a neighborhood, though, collecting feedback on it or monitoring feedback that's getting posted. And I know there'll be some discussion on it. We have Summerfest comes right on the heels of it, but Summerfest is June 6th, 7th, and 8th. So there is a Friday night kickoff party out in front of Murphy's, and which is how Friday night's being handled this year with a jazz band there at the Triangle area. And then the 7th and 8th are full. We got the 5K, the Tot Trot, the Kids Fest area, the Artist Market, and then bands all day Saturday afternoon and Sunday. So come on out. We're also looking for volunteers. Great way to connect in the community. Can use some more volunteers. Any real estate agents out there who want to get some a little bit of a high profile notice, we're still taking some additional sponsors as well. So those are the main things kind of going on right now that the Civic Association is heavily focused on.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is there anyone here from Emory or Druid Hills? Okay. Parks, Trees, and Environment. I don't think Rich is at tonight's meeting. I haven't heard him. Jason Holmes, Education. Marla, anything from Communications?
No, sorry. Took me a minute to find it.
Okay. Public Safety, Kay or Susan?
Just a couple of real quick things. Morningside and Druid Hills have both been experiencing a real uptick in car break-ins. Surprisingly, at the same time, Virginia Highland is down. But Phyllis wanted me to remind everyone about Clean Car Campaign, but also any visitors that you have, remind them to not leave anything visible in their car. And if you have a landscaper that comes and takes care of your yard, please remind them to, if they have a box truck, keep it locked up. If they have one of those trailers, keep the gate up, because landscapers are losing equipment left and right. And then just real quickly to follow on what Tim said about Porch Fest, which was sponsored by the Virginia Highland District. It was an overwhelming success. It was huge, huge, huge event. But I represent the Virginia Highland Security Patrol. If you have any feedback relative specifically to safety, and I'll put the address in the chat, would you send it to info@vahaipatrol.org. That's email I monitor, and I'll make sure that that feedback gets back to the right folks. That's all I've got. Susan, did you have anything to add?
I'm trying to think of anything. Oh, I do know that we did have I mentioned before, Zone 2 had our meeting. Crime in general is down 11% citywide, and Zone 2 are both down. I don't have the exact figures, but the biggest problem is larceny from vehicles at this point.
Okay. Katie, is there anything you want to report on APAB? I know you missed this month's meeting because of Porch Fest.
No, since I wasn't there and that was Saturday, I haven't done my catch up yet. I'm not even caught up on my sleep yet.
Okay.
But thanks for it was a great weekend. So thanks for those that made that happen.
Great, thank you. I have a 2025 community impact project report. We're required to do these monthly. We finally cleared the 2024 CIG closeout. Thank you to those that worked with me to get the documents requested after the deadline. We were like 4 months past their requirement, but we got it done. One project that was not funded for 2025 was the NPU website and Google Workspace platform that we use for managing emails as well as our archives. Fortunately, Councilmember Alex Wan has generously said that he will fund us for both of those items for the next 5 years. And those funds will be sent to our fiscal agent, who is now the Virginia Highland District Association this year. And then I'll be reimbursed for payments that we make on a monthly basis. So thank you, Alex, for that. As a reminder, we received 2025 impact grants for 4 projects: Friends of Orm Park, Virginia Highland Patrol Banners, Virginia Highland District Association Planters, and the Armand Park Native Plantings. I realized after we got our award letter that we didn't receive our training bonus, which we should have received. And I know that you all helped meet those requirements by attending a NPU specified course. So I've appealed that. I'm still waiting on a decision to see whether or not we get that $1,500. And those funds will go to the projects that were underfunded for the request. If you recall, I had asked for minimum that was needed to do the project and then a maximum amount that was required. And we had a couple that were underfunded at the minimum level, but not at the max level. So we'll make it up that way. And then finally, we should be receiving the grant funds by the end of the week. I'll work with Katie to make sure that we get the original check, and the funds should be available for distribution then. Next is the chair report. It's been kind of a busy month, so apologies for a long report. First, be sure to check the consent agenda for the public engagement opportunities, that municipal court hearing for the Tesha Road properties, the SAP hearing tomorrow for 445 Plasters, and then the municipal court open house, which is in June. As mentioned last month, we received an SAP for a business at 2087 Piedmont Road for a restaurant. This is the former Looks of Atlanta location. It was sent to Morningside, Lindridge Manor, and Piedmont Heights for review. The SAP hearing has not been set, so it won't be on the June agenda. I don't know when that will be coming up. We are moving forward on getting the Piedmont Heights Master Plan incorporated into the 2025 CDP. Thanks, Nate, for your help in getting that done. It should be on our agenda for a vote in the next couple months. Marla mentioned the good meeting we had with Alex Wan and Doug Widener regarding tacos and tequila. I was also at that meeting. It included representative from both Morningside and Virginia Highland, as well as some representatives from the Belvedere condos on Dutch Valley who received the worst of the noise. As Marla said, they listened, they took some good notes, and they were very open to neighbors' suggestions. So we should be hearing soon on where they're going to any of their recommendations. And also, Alex did say that he would like this particular group to continue to meet to work on issues related to events in Piedmont Park. Speaking of special events, I really need some help working with the Midtown Neighbors Association on two big events in Piedmont Park later this year. Shaky Knees, which is coming up in October, and One Music Fest in September. If you live near Piedmont Park and have a stake in the outcome of the events, please send me an email so that I can get you involved in the meetings. They have been highly productive over the last year. We've made some huge improvements in the operations to those events, and have established some really good relationships with the producers. So we know that there's a lot of stuff that we can't fix the way we would like, but we're able to make it much, much better by working with the event organizers so that these events are not only intolerable, but also enjoyable by our neighbors. So just send me an email. My email's at the top of the agenda if you don't have it. And then Amsterdam Walk, there's really not a whole lot to add with that. I think most of you know that despite the absolutely incredible efforts of Morningside and Virginia Highland neighbors and others throughout the city, and some pretty extensive media coverage, City Council approved the Portman application. I'm particularly unhappy, and I couldn't find a better words. That's the best one I've got that's, I'd say in public, that not a single council member who voted for the project had the courtesy of explaining their vote. I've made that known to several other council people. I think that it was an insult to the public and their commitment to citizen engagement. So as a reminder, the mayor, whose office was reportedly complicit in the vote outcome, and all members of council, they are up for re-election in November. Your voice hasn't been silenced. Your vote is your voice. If you attend any of their campaign events, and I would seek them out, even if they're not in a district we live in, please be sure to ask them why. I want them to justify their actions. And then finally, this is regarding 816 Adair Circle. I think, Jane, you're still on the phone. At the end of last month's meeting, this is April, a concern was raised that two people who voted to oppose the variance at 816 Adair Circle might not have been eligible of their because of their status as trustees in a trust fund for the adjacent property. In the interest of privacy, I'm not going to mention names or the address of the property, but I was asked to do some research and to report back. Since the definition of membership in an NPU is not only defined in our bylaws, it's also defined in city ordinances and I think in the city charter. I've discussed the issue with the director of the NPU support team and asked that the city law department provide some guidance. No surprises there. We still haven't heard from the law department. I also spoke to several of the neighbors who clarified that the two people who voted were 100% trustees for two individual trusts for the property. The information that was shared at the meeting was incorrect, And we now have a better understanding of what the status. Finally, we've looked at our bylaws and our policy sheet, and we will be making some recommendations to include trustees in the voting requirements if appropriate. That's as if the city concurs with what I believe is that trustees should have a right to vote in the NPU as a representative for the property. Our protocol for processing proof of eligibility is also going to be reviewed. Based on our records, it does not appear that either individual who voted, that was that question, actually took the second step of providing proof. But quite frankly, we didn't have anything specific for them to, that as an example for what to use for proof. So we need to get that clarified. So first, as a reminder to everyone, if you're going to register as an eligible voter in our NPU, it's a two-step process. First, you fill out a template form, and then you're sent a link to send your proof of residency or business association. And we'll make that much clearer as we work through this process. So now, is there anyone have any comments or questions regarding that? What was done and the path that we're going to take going forward on that issue? We know we've got a gap. We've got to fix it. It's not the first time we found a gap in our bylaws. And whatever work we do will be as part of our regular annual bylaw review process, which starts in July. Anyone have any comments, questions?
I was just going to say, this is Tim Langen. I've seen written justification from two council members on why they voted in favor of Amsterdam Walk. Amir, I've seen it from Amir and Howard Shook. When I don't know how they've all, but well, I know how Amir distributed it, but anyhow, just going to say that.
Yeah, Amir put it in his newsletter. I haven't seen Howard's. They still didn't say anything at the meeting, and some of those council members will justify their vote on just about everything. It made me unhappy. Jane Rice, your hand is raised.
Thank you. There were 5 incorrect statements made about Leanne and I at the last meeting, and I would like to correct the record on those 5 statements. One of them you've addressed already, that Kevin Kronig said that we were 25% shares, but that's not true. And if anybody needs to know more information, I'll do it in private. The second misinformation was that we didn't register with documents. I registered in January with documents, and I was given the approval to vote in the NPU for a year. So that information was incorrect. Leanne submitted her document twice during the week before the April meeting. I can't speak to Marla Johnson getting that data, but she did submit it twice. So I do want to correct that. We think we did everything completely properly. Now, it may not be because mistakes are made, but we think we did. Let me go through my list here. Kevin stated that Charles never owned the house. That is incorrect, completely incorrect. And again, I don't want to go into the gory details. He also said that there was a Mary Frances Rice Trust. Completely incorrect. That is not true. So you can see that this is disturbing. These incorrect comments and then trying to throw out our vote was completely disturbing to Leanne and I. We didn't feel welcome at all in this meeting after sitting through, hours. And all of this discussion happened after we left the Zoom. We were there for, 2 hours and just didn't stay to the end. Now, there were 20 people who heard all these false statements. Let me make sure I got them all. One, two. Kevin thought that we voted without being qualified. I called Alex Wan's office and talked to the chief of staff, Mr. Orkin, and he said we were qualified, that there was no question. With our being trustees, we were certainly qualified to vote in that meeting. That's what we were told. And that was just a few days after the last meeting. So I'm surprised. Well, I mean, legal things just take time. I understand that. What disturbs me about this is that it came very close to throwing out our votes based on these false statements that we were not there to correct. So I would suggest that the chair and the board members discuss this privately to prevent this from happening again, because I think everyone would be disturbed if they knew that an appropriate vote was someone tried to throw out an appropriate vote. And I'm not sure what the source of these false statements were, but maybe Kevin would like to share with us where he got this information, because that seems relevant to me, not in public, in private. And I think there is a remedy here, and that would be to contact the 22 people who heard this discussion and were shaking their heads thinking that 2 people did something unsavory. We did not do anything unsavory. We did not do, we followed the rules. We had legal right to vote. There was no reason that any of this should have come up, except that the NPU bylaws maybe weren't clear. And so that's fine to discuss that in private. It's fine to discuss that in private, but to do it publicly, and now it's on the internet, and the remedy would have to be to add a clause or a video at the end of the last meeting's notes to say that there were falsehoods in that. So I want you to take this seriously and come up with remedies that make sense. And I appreciate you putting, the chair especially, putting the brakes on this. I only saw the video after the fact, and it came to my attention, and I appreciate you putting the brakes on this. You deserve a hand of credit for that, and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marla?
Yes, sorry, Jane, I want to apologize to you. When I looked at the spreadsheet, you had 3 entries. And so I only saw the April and May entries, and I did not go all the way back to January when you were verified. So I am sorry for that.
Thank you for your apology. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's our verification process is extremely manual. Extremely.
And if you didn't get the, if you didn't get the documents for Leanne, we're happy to submit that again if they're insufficient. Can you hear me?
Yes,
if they're insufficient, we would be happy to provide. She didn't have the trust document in hand at the time we sent the documents, so she sent a link that linked her mother's name, which is the same as the trust, and the 812 Adair Avenue address, which would be not a utility bill, but at least it linked that. And we're happy to provide anything. If anyone had asked, we would have been happy to provide it.
Yeah, Jane, I know that you all will. I just want to clarify that there was And if you listen to the discussion following at the meeting, that there was no way that we were going to rescind the vote or take away two eligible voters. We just don't do that in this NPU. And as I stated in last month's meeting, I wouldn't do it because it would not be transparent. There was nobody in the Zoom room at the time that was there that opposed the application, and it just isn't neighborly. So
yes, well, I appreciated the neighborly comment, and if you can find a remedy, that would be even better. And let's just go forward and try to find a remedy to get the word out that misinformation was transmitted during that conversation, and heads were shaking. I mean, people were suspecting us as doing something unsavory. I could see it in the video.
But I don't think anyone walked away thinking that they had done something unsavory. We left it that we knew we didn't have all the facts. And we also left it that we weren't sure that what we knew was absolutely correct. So, as I said, I did a lot of research to try and get those things cleared up. And I know that where we've got some gaps and we'll be working on to fix.
Yeah. Well, I do want to say the most offensive comment was that my father didn't own part of the house. That was the most offensive comment. And it's because he owned it twice. He owned it in 1970 and quit claimed it back to his sister because he had a house already and he wanted her to have it. So that was the most offensive comment. But no one would know that he owned it twice and gave it back to her. No one would know that except us. So now everybody knows it. But he was a very gracious man.
Right. And I am so sorry for your loss, but thank you. And I want you to know that I'm in the same position where you are. My house is also in a trust. My trustee, once I pass on, will be my brother who lives outside of Atlanta. So it's exactly the same set of circumstances. So I'm highly sensitive to this issue, but we'll get it worked out so it shouldn't come up again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the NPU tonight? Charlie?
Hey, Tim Lang, and I don't. This isn't the time to hash it out, but have we
raise our hands at the NPU meeting? Charlie's hand was raised first.
Sorry.
Charlie, go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks, Debbie. Yeah. I want to talk about complete streets. Alex Wan at the city council meeting where the vote was taken actually on Amsterdam Walk made a very strong statement that it was time to finally get Monroe Drive complete streets moving from talking to action. And he said it's been 10 years, nothing's been done. And he said he's going to make it a top priority that it finally get moving. And Marla's here from MLPA, Tim's here from Virginia Highlands, Piedmont Heights representative. I'm calling on the neighborhood association representatives to make this a absolute top priority. The talking has to stop, as Alex Wan himself has said, and it's time to get this done. I want to encourage the neighborhood associations to get it on the radar, to organize the communities that they represent, to put pressure on Alex Wan, to put pressure on Atlanta DOT, to put pressure on the mayor, whoever, to get this done finally. It's the talking has been going on for 10 years, as Alex once said. It's time to get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex did mention at the meeting on Monday that he had a meeting with ATL DOT. I think it's Friday. He's really pushing hard on it. So we hopefully we'll be able to hear from him shortly on what progress he's making or not. And Tim? Don't forget to.
Yeah, I know it's been discussed before. Is anything like just hearing all these particularly the Class B and A events in Piedmont Park? Is there any discussions ongoing, or has the NPU made any kind of recommendation before it's like Piedmont Park's become the de facto fairgrounds for the city? So many, we get such a high percentage of the Class B and Class A events compared to the other parks around the city. Is there, I remember back when in the Shirley administration, they canceled all those events one year because we didn't get enough rain. I couldn't imagine the city caring about parks to that degree these days. That might have been an extreme thing that happened that year, but one year they were so concerned about parks back then, the Peachtree Road Race couldn't finish in Piedmont Park. Nowadays, it's like, and these ones in the fall are so rough on the park when all the lawns are going dormant. I don't know. Is there any? Have you guys discussed this prior, or is this something that we've brought up to the city about how everything seems to point to Piedmont Park? It feels like it's every weekend.
Not well. We're going into the festival seasons, but there's not as many events there as there used to be. That's any consolation. Marla, help me with this. I heard Doug Widener also raise the issue with the number of events that were at Piedmont Park and including it in their planning for how they can manage that. I mean,
The main takeaway I got from the meeting was that the Piedmont Park Conservancy, which Doug Widener is the president and CEO of, only handles 5 of these events, the ones that are at the Legacy Fountain and the Promenade. All the other festivals are permitted through the city or the Parks Department. So I kind of got the feeling that his hands were tied also, because they only control a small number of the events.
Yeah, the fall music festivals are the killer because the lawn's going dormant. The one in September will stomp the grass brown prematurely, and it never and it greens back up at by May 1st. It's just so many. And again, maybe there's a raw number count where you can say, hey, actually somehow it's fewer than before, but it just doesn't feel that way.
I think everyone's aware of it. There are
spread the love to some of the other parks. We've opened up more parkland in Atlanta. We need to spread the love around.
And it is spreading around. Centennial Yards is opening up a festival venue as well. There are.
Is that a concert venue or a festival spot? I saw the Live Nation announcement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually an indoor space. It's pretty good size. It's about the size of the Fox Theater, but it's not big enough to do a festival, and it would be indoor.
Yeah, it's that'll be for Live Nation events and Live Nation artists.
Oh, okay. Well, I think there are 5 major events in September and October every year. It includes Pride, which is even bigger than One Midtown or One Music Fest. And we're not sure what Shaky Knees is going to be like. They're excited about being in Piedmont Park this year because there's room for more people. But if there's anyone that wants to attend those meetings, I am more than happy to share the wealth.
Sounds like Tim just volunteered.
Yeah.
Well, it's more of a. I'm talking about an effort to talk to the city about planning how we say yes to everything that comes to Piedmont Park, how they point everything to Piedmont Park, more than two events that we know are happening.
Well, you might not have heard me say.
Example, the Piedmont when Music Midtown revived, or they revived. I know that's died, and a couple other events, and Shaky Knees has kind of taken its slot, but the Piedmont Park Conservancy found out about that at the press conference when the press conference happened for it. Now that's years back, but
yeah,
that's how much sway the Conservancy has over these events, right? They didn't even know it was happening until the press conference.
Right. I skipped over an item on my chair.
Enough of that. We can talk about that further later times.
I see Nancy's hand raised, but I just wanted to mention, and Kay mentioned this as well. I'm gathering feedback on the Porch Fest for a debrief with Virginia Highland District Association and several others. Our meeting is June 3rd. So if you've got any feedback that you want to share, just shoot it my way. Anything, and that includes anything that's good or bad.
And the Civic Association's getting feedback on it too. But
yeah,
I think we.
Yeah. Okay. And so share it with me. I'm going to be the interface with Virginia Highland District Association on this one, since it comes to the
significant amount of feedback on next door regarding the Porch Fest. I don't know if that's something you.
Oh yeah,
you've read it. Okay,
yep. And I've made notes.
Oh.
And I was just raising my hand in support of Tim's comments about Piedmont Park. Typically, when I attend these NPU calls, I abstain from votes on Piedmont Park events because, to his point, it's almost always yes. And I don't want to be the outlier, but at some point it would be nice if there were some constraints around the number of events, because it's hard to be the gatekeeper. I mean, it's hard to say no, and how do you say no? But it just does seem like the park is overused.
And these events are happening even if we say no.
Yeah, it's just a lot. It's a lot, and
I love the big event. I like some big events there too. I'm not anti big event.
I agree. I think I'm completely in sync with you, but you just walk on a day after an event. It just it's very off-putting to see the human element of something that's supposed to kind of be a respite from all of that, with the garbage and the destruction. And
sure, and that's one of the reasons why I continue to ask for folks to work with me on the special events, because it's a very complex issue. There are First Amendment issues that are involved. The Parks and Recreation Department can be like moving a huge boulder up a hill to get them to work with us. But what we've learned, and really it's the Midtown Neighbors Association that takes the lead on this, is developing good relationships with not only the event organizers, but the security leads, has helped us make these events a little less demanding on the park itself, as well as some of the other quality of life issues for the residents. It's sort of a backdoor way of getting it done, but it's helped a lot. And Christopher, do you have any more comments?
Muted.
Yeah, you're muted, Ann. I'm sorry.
And you're muted.
Sorry. The city has poured money into new parks. And what about like the West Side Park, or is it called the Shirley Franklin Park now? I mean, is there not any other place that can take some of these big events? I mean, Piedmont, we have Monroe Drive being a disaster. It's just even worse when those big events come through. I wish we could direct it to other parks, some of the big events.
Yeah, not our decision, but the Parks Department is moving a lot of the events not necessarily the A's, but the smaller events are going to Grant Park, to Central Park. And there's another location, Mosley Park, I think, is getting some of them. I get the weekly report from the special events, and there aren't as many events in the park, believe it or not, as there used to be 5 years ago. It's kind of, so they're moving out. But I hear all of your complaints, and we continue to share those with those that are making decisions.
Yeah, and I know it's a complex issue, and it's, not about wanting to make it our own private park. It's just wanting it to be a public park instead of an event festival venue.
Yep.
So
Thank
you.
Fairground.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. So, a meeting's gone on a little bit longer than usual. Anything else that we need to bring up tonight? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Tom?
Second.
Tom and Marla. Okay, the meeting is adjourned at 9:56 p.m. Thank you all for being here tonight. Appreciate your input on a variety of subjects, especially those regarding complete streets in Piedmont Park. We'll put those higher up on our priority list. So I'm going to leave the Zoom room open for a bit. Don't forget that you can copy the chat to a text file by clicking on the 3 dots that are on the chat list. If you can't figure out how to do that, just put something in the chat and we will catch it and we'll send it to you once we close the meeting.
And Debbie, just one final comment. I want to thank you for your comments on Amsterdam Walk and your advocacy for trying to get some answers on that to the questions that are not answerable. So thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you,
Good
Debbie.
night.
I'm gonna need to stop the recording.